Hi, hello everyone. I'm Adriana Rodriguez and I work with the NACRC, and we put together 5 scholarships that are perfect to apply for in January 2021. We've added time markers and links all 5 scholarships in the description box, and if you have any questions or comments, you are free to email us and let us know. So before you start applying to any scholarship, it's important to gather some items together. The first is your student transcripts. Some of the scholarships will ask for official transcripts, and those can usually be provided by your high school counselor. But most scholarships tend to just ask for your unofficial transcripts. The next thing to gather would be your resume. And this is a good thing to have around as a reminder of your accomplishment. And it's a good resource to give to teachers or adults for letters of recommendation, which, speaking of, it's important to gather together some letters of recommendation. These letters do not have to be strictly from teachers or counselors. They can be from any adult that has witnessed your achievements, such as a religious figure, a mentor, or employer. As a big tip, ask for letters of recommendation in advance. You really don't want to ask for them the day before an application is due, and always remember to send a thank you note to anyone who writes you a letter. So, to start off, I want to give you a brief overview of the 5 scholarships we will be talking about today. Now, these include the I Have a Dream Scholarship, the Soaring with Resilience Scholarship, Annual Prayer Soup Scholarship, Equitable Excellence Scholarship, um, and the Ability AT&T ERG Scholarship. Now, we will go over all of these scholarships with an explanation on what they are requiring from the student who are planning on applying. So our first scholarship is the I Have a Dream scholarship from unigo.com. And if you don't know what Unigo is a scholarship search engine that really makes it easy to find the best scholarships to apply for. To enter this scholarship, you would need to create an account with this website, which is really easy to do. And if you create an account, they give you a long list of scholarships that you're eligible for. So let's start off with some basic information on the I Have a Dream scholarship. This scholarship is for $1,500 and is only awarded to one student. The deadline for the scholarship is January 31st, 2021, and the winner will be notified on April 30th of 2021 by either phone or email. The I Have a Dream scholarship has some requirements for students. The first is that the applicant must be 14 years of age or older at the time of the application. If you are a graduating senior, I'm more than sure you will qualify for the scholarship. The second requirement is that the applicant must be a legal U.S. resident. This does mean that if you are a DACA recipient, you are not eligible for this scholarship. You Next on the list is that the student must be a resident of the 50 United States um, or the District of Columbia. And the last thing on the list is a reminder that the scholarship is only for U.S. students. If you are unsure whether you meet these requirements, please send us an email and we will be more than happy to help you out there. So the I Have a Dream scholarship does have a very specific essay prompt for their applicants, and it's pretty easy. So it is, we want to know, what do you dream about? Whether it's a bizarre dream you had last week or your hopes for the future, share your dreams with us for a chance to win 1,500 for college. This essay must be 250 words or less. If you go over the word limit, your scholarship will become ineligible. Some advice for this prompt is to create a small outline before you start writing. Because the prompt is a little vague, it can be easy to sort of start rambling in your writing. So, for example, you could write about what dream your future would be like, but instead of writing about your career goals, you can write how you dream to have the financial capability to travel more, or you can write about how your dreams to get married and have a family and sort of build that family system up. The prompt is sort of very open in that aspect where you do have quite a bit of a choice of what you can write about. So while it is encouraged to be creative, it is important to make sure that what you're writing is going to make sense so that the person evaluating your essay can understand the message you're trying to make. A good way to make sure you're not rambling and getting off subject would be to read your essay out loud to another person, or you can even record yourself reading your essay and watch it back and try to catch those little mistakes. Um, if you want some extra eyes on it, you can ask a teacher. I know a lot of English teachers might be willing to help out, as well as guidance counselors, or you can email it to us at the NACRC and we can take a look at it. So the second scholarships we will be talking about is the Soaring with Resilience Scholarship, which is being sponsored by Soundpost Youth Foundation. So let's begin with the basic information on about the STAR Scholarship. First, the scholarship amount is for $1,000 and is being awarded to only one applicant. The deadline for the scholarship is on January 31st, 2021, and the result date is May 2021, and the winner would be notified by phone or email. Okay, so let's discuss requirements for the STAR scholarship. The first on the list is that the applicant must be between the ages of 14 to 18 years old, and they must be at the high school grade level, meaning that in the year of 2020 to 2021, you had to have been in 9th, 10th, 11th, or 12th grade. The student also has to be currently enrolled in a U.S. high school and must be a resident of the United States for more than 1 year in order to be eligible for this scholarship. Lastly, the student has to have an adult nomination. Without this adult nomination, the application will be deemed ineligible. So the adult nomination has to be submitted by the adult via a Google form, and it has to be completed on or before the due date for the application to be considered complete. If you're struggling on deciding like who to ask for the scholarship, for this particular one, your guidance counselor or your teacher would be good choices, as they can sort of back up that information that you're giving with this scholarship. If you're unsure, um, it's good to ask a parent just to give you some advice on who to ask for an adult nomination. I would say, and I would warn not to ask any family members to give you this adult recommendation, as it can be seen a little inappropriate. So I would ask someone outside of your family to write you this recommendation. So the STAR scholarship requires the student to submit a Google form that asks for a variety of questions. The first questions you would see would be demographic questions, such as like what your age is, what your grade level is, your birthday, the city, and your contact information, which is all pretty standard information that you get from a lot of scholarship applications. The form does require you for you to answer some short essay questions. So you'll see a question asking about any complications that you face due to COVID-19, what your future goals are, how you plan on spending the scholarship money. And I believe there's a question on there on what has made you so strong throughout COVID. Lastly, the form will ask you to enter the name of your adult nomination as well as their contact info. And this is just to sort of ensure that they received their nomination and make sure it gets connected to the right student. Some advice when you're completing this form would be to take your time. This is a relatively long form, so it would be best to fill out all the contact and demographic information first, and then go back to the essay questions. And this will allow you to the proper time to figure out what you want to say. Try to make sure your answers are honest to your experience regarding COVID, and this will allow for those that are evaluating your answers to get a genuine idea of who you are as a student. And it'll be more if there's an interview afterwards where they want to speak to you in person or through Zoom. Um, you won't be caught in any sort of like lies or embellishments. You'll be talking your truth, and that'll really show up in your writing and in person. So the next scholarship we will be discussing is the annual Prayer Soup, fourth annual Prayer Soup scholarship, which is being sponsored by Prayer Soup. And this organization is one of non-religious specific, non-dogmatic forum for sharing unique prayer experiences. And this really just means that the organization does not favor one religion over another and just promotes discovering common ground through prayer. So whether you're Catholic or Christian or Jewish, it doesn't really matter. They just want to hear how your own personal religion, how your own sense of prayer has helped you and how that what that means to you. So the fourth annual scholarship is awarding five students. Three three students will receive $2,500. Oh, there we go. Two students will receive $1,000. The deadline for the scholarship is due on January 31st, 2021, and the winners will be notified in April 2020 by either phone or email. So with this scholarship, it is pretty good news that they're offering 5 awards instead of just the usual one. So there is a higher chance of being able to like sort of get that award if you apply for this one. The fourth annual scholarship has a few requirements for students. The first being that the applicant has to be a high school senior who is graduating in 2021. The second being that the student must be currently enrolled in a high school in the United States. The last requirement is that the student submit an essay between 600 words and 1,200 words. This scholarship does have a very specific prompt for students to use. So the prompt for this one is, in a time of large-scale disruption, what differences do you notice in your own life, the life of your family, and the life of your peers? Has your view of the world changed? Your view of yourself? Has your prior experience self changed, strengthened, weakened, or expanded as a result of the changes you've confronted due to COVID? Um, so some advice for this scholarship is that it is preferred that you do not add any identifying information in the essay. So that means do not add your name, your location, or anything that would give out who you are as a person. So try to keep this essay as anonymous as possible because the essays are being evaluated blindly. And if they find any sort of identifying information, your essay will be disqualified and ineligible. Something else to take into consideration for this essay prompt is regarding the essay word count. It is a little broad at 600 to 1,200 words, and it can be hard to decide where to end your essay. So I would recommend trying to aim for a 900-word essay so that you don't fall too short or too long. So you sort of fall in like that middle sweet spot area. Um, but it's definitely okay if you fall a little bit longer, a little bit shorter. That's something I would recommend. So there is some more to mention when it comes to the essay of this scholarship. This essay has to be submitted in a Word document as an attachment to an email that needs to be sent to info@prayersoup.org. Your information cannot be in your essay, but it should be in the email itself. So that means in the body of the email, you should be adding all your information. And the information that you will be adding will be your name, your mailing address, your email address, your contact phone number, name of your high school, how applicant heard about the scholarship, and the name of the scholarship. So this one would be the fourth annual scholarship, and that's what you would write down. If you need any help getting this done, you can feel free to send us an email or message us um, on any of the NACRC social media, and we'll be happy to help you out there. The next scholarship is the Equitable Excellence Scholarship, which is being offered by the Equitable Company. So starting off, um, the Equitable Scholarship is offering 360 awards in various amounts. So students can receive $2,500, $10,000, or $25,000. The deadline for the scholarship is on January 28th, 2021 at 3 p.m. or when 10,000 applicants are submitted, um, whichever comes first. So the winners of this scholarship will be announced on March 2021 by phone or email. This is a scholarship I would really recommend applying to just because it does have a higher number of awards that are being given out. Um, so I would recommend that a lot of students, if you have a free moment or two in January, I would recommend applying for this particular scholarship. So for the Equitable Scholarship, here are some of the requirements that they have for applicants. First, applicants must demonstrate courage, strength, and wisdom as shown by community impact through volunteer service. This scholarship is specifically looking for students who have spent time volunteering and giving back to their community. The next requirement is the applicant must be a high school senior planning on attending an accredited 2-year or 4-year college or university in the United States. Lastly, the student must be a United States citizen or legal resident living or claiming residency in the 50 U.S. states, District of Columbia, or Puerto Rico. For the Equitable Scholarship, students do need an online recommendation. This recommendation should be from someone who has witnessed the applicant's community service and volunteer work which is really meaning it will not be in your best interest to ask a teacher to fill out the recommendation if the teacher doesn't know or wasn't there when you completed your volunteer work. In this case, it would be my recommendation that you look for an adult who worked with you and who knows how much work you've put into helping your community. Um, Keep in mind this recommendation is necessary for your application to be considered for an award. So if you don't get this on the recommendation in by that due date, your application is considered invalid. Next, the application is going to have at least one essay question. So unlike previous scholarships mentioned, this scholarship does not release the prompts that they give students until you are filling out the application. And the reason for this is to help promote a fair chance for all students. But on my own best guess, as someone who has filled out a lot of scholarships before, I would guess that it has to circle around community work and volunteer service, um, and how you feel and the leadership roles you've taken. And that's usually what some of those prompts would usually be like. Lastly, you will be asked for your basic contact information in the application, and that's sort of what they ask of everyone, and that's how they get in contact with you if you win. Our final scholarship is the Ability AT&T ERG scholarship, and this is going to be a long one, guys. So, for the Ability scholarship, here's some of the basic information. The amount of the scholarship is 1,500 with one award. Um, the deadline for the scholarship is January 31st, 2021, and the winner will be contacted on May 20th, 2021. So let's talk about requirements. The Ability Scholarship has some extensive requirements. So if you get confused and need any extra help determining if you're eligible, please reach out to us because this one does have quite a few requirements for students. The first requirement is that this scholarship is open to either high school seniors or college undergraduates who will be attending an undergraduate college program in 2021, leading towards their first degree. So students who have a bachelor's degree and will be working on a second or subsequent degree are not eligible. Um, the application consists of providing an official school transcript information about extracurricular activities, leadership, employment, achievement and awards, and an essay. If you're having trouble finding your transcript or figuring out how to request it, your school counselor will be able to lend you a hand. If you're a college student, usually you can get those on your school's portal. This scholarship is looking for information about extracurricular activities, leadership, employment, and achievement awards, and can include both high school and college years, meaning that if you are a college student and you did volunteer work back in high school, that does also count. So here we go with some more requirements for the Ability Scholarship. As stated earlier, this scholarship requires you to have your official transcripts in order to be eligible for the scholarship. If you submit your unofficial transcripts, you will be ineligible for the award. Um, High school seniors taking dual enrollment classes only need to provide a high school transcript, an official high school transcript, not any from a college. The high school transcript should show the dual enrollment classes and their associated grades. So applicant must initial a release authorizing ability to use the applicant's name on the website and in the newsletter. And this is just basically saying if you win the award, they want to be able to publish your story and be able to publish your name and be able to say, this is the student who won this award. So high school juniors attending dual enrollment programs are not eligible unless they are graduating a year early and will be attending college in the next academic school year. Meaning if you are a high school junior who has fast-tracked all their classes and is graduating this May, you are eligible for the scholarship because um, you will be attending college in the fall. So the Ability Scholarship asks you to choose between one of two prompts and write a 500-word essay. And this is the first prompt. So the first prompt is 75 years ago, the United States Congress, recognizing the importance of workers with disabilities, designated the first week in October as National Employee of the Physically Handicapped Week. 45 years later, Congress passed the Americans with Disabilities Act. Why is it important to continue raising awareness and promoting positive attitudes towards the person with disabilities? Use one or more of the links below to get you started and substantiate your essay. And these links will be provided to you in the description. The second prompt is according to National Center for Educational Statistics and CES website, 7.1 million or 14% of all public school students receive special education services. 33% of those have some form of learning disability, and TES data from the fall of 2018 indicates that 64% of those students spend 80% or more of their school day in general classes. What might be an area of concern for all students with or without disabilities in the inclusive classroom, and what improvements would you suggest addressing your concern? Use one or more of the links below to acquaint yourself with the research of inclusive classrooms. So, my first piece of advice to any students interested in applying is choose the prompt you feel more passionate about. And the reason for this is because if you don't feel motivated and passionate about a subject, it can show in your essay. So, the people who evaluate your essay will use your writing to create a picture of you. And if you write passionately, you come across as a motivated individual. So, if your writing is robotic and without any substance, that will really come out and be clear to the people who are reading your essay. So both prompts are clear on what they expect from you as an applicant. For this reason, I encourage you to create an outline before writing the essay, and this will help you organize your thoughts and make sure that you stay clear on the topic. If you're having any trouble on this, again, please reach out to us. You can reach out to the NACRC and we can lend you a helping hand in this area. So you also may have noticed that both of these prompts offer links to articles that will help you articulate a response. And I know it will seem tempting to simply read just one article, but I encourage you to read all the articles of the prompt you've chosen. And this is going to help you prepare your response as well as help you become engaged in the topic at hand. It also helps you sound a little more educated on the topic if you've read about the topic consistently. So I would go ahead and if you choose like the prompt number two, read all four articles. If you choose prompt number one, you can read all three. So just take the time and really prepare yourself before you start writing this essay. So we've reached the end of the scholarship, but before we finish up, I do want to provide you with some quick NACRC tips. So for this month, we have three tips for students. The first is to remain honest when you are writing an essay. Um, This is especially important if you're writing about your accomplishments. Your accomplishments are great as they are, and it's important that you remain true to who you are when you're applying. Um, because you never want to embellish on your accomplishments, and then if you're asked about them by the sponsors or by the company, you don't want to risk being caught in a lie. Your accomplishments are good as they are, and you should feel proud of them without having to add on to them. So the next big tip is to start early. The sooner you start applying, the better. Remember, the more scholarships you apply to, the greater chance of getting more money for college. Um, it's my usual recommendation for students to apply to at least one scholarship a week. This will increase the chances that you win an award, and it becomes easier the more you do it. So the final tip is regarding your GPA. While your GPA is important, it's not all that is looked at when applying for scholarships. Community service and extracurricular activities are also important, and sometimes that is the main thing a scholarship is looking for. So in some of the scholarships we just talked about, your GPA didn't come up as much. It's a lot about who you are as a person and how you've tried to give back to the community. So we have reached the end of this presentation, and I'm glad you stuck around this long. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to contact us. We have listed here all our social media handles along with our email and phone number if you have any questions. Before we end, I do want to remind you that we here at the NACRC, we can help students with more than just looking for scholarships. If you need help submitting your FAFSA or are worried about the transition from high school to college, please contact us and we are happy to help you. I know we are a program housed by NAU, but we are willing to help every student, whether or not you go to NAU. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in February with 5 more scholarships to apply to.